I'm a little bit more in shock because I'm still what I saw in game 1 and 2. I know you guys did some live viewings. I'm sorry I missed that. I was in the bar. I really would like to sit down with you guys for the game. But I'm still in shock. I still can't believe we won games 1 and 2. This is the first game I feel like we won.
Right. Agreed.
And I think it was definitely the Knicks pulling that out. And also, I think the Celtics more than the Celtics losing it, because the Knicks, that's the most points we scored against the Celtics. Normally, it's a low-scoring affair, but this was the first time we actually used our whole roster. I mean, we have a very expensive roster. We have some really good two-way players, OG, Bridges, and Cat. And Cat's not a two-way player, but we have those players there. So instead of us doing the Allen Iverson, what I call it, the four corners, right, just sits back and watches Brunson, which we did against the Pistons and which we did the first couple of games against the Celtics. We actually posting up Cat on Peyton Pritchard. I'm like, yeah, why didn't we always do this?
Mouse in the house.
Bridges go up against White, which White is a good defender, but Bridges got him by a couple of inches. So let's see what we got there instead of us going JB against Drew Holiday, which we know is one of the better defenders in maybe NBA history. I would like to.
Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live. And I guess this is a special Bye Bron edition. Yeah. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept aware anytime we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you enjoy the content as you listen, make sure you give us a like, a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And write it down, put it in your phones, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the podcast and you want to help the show continue to grow, make sure you go ahead, click that join button, join the channel. We're going to have some exclusive content just for you. All right, here we go. This is what I brought you here for, Kyle. This is one of the reasons I brought you here, man.
Go New York, go New York, go. Theme song, by the way. I think that song is a little outdated, and I don't know.
Whose song is that?
Huh?
Whose song is that?
I don't know. It's a group of Caucasian gentlemen that used to rap. I don't know. I think for all the heavy hitters and the good rappers and entertainers we have in New York, I think we push that up. Remember when the Locks did that freestyle at the Garden? I don't know if you remember that. Something like that. We gotta get a different theme song for times like this when we're one game away from the Eastern Conference Finals.
When was the last time the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals? 2010? Was that it?
Was it 2010? Yeah, I think it might have been with Woody. Was it during the Knicks tape era?
I know Melo never made an Eastern Conference Finals, so I'm not sure.
So you saying then? So now we talking about?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. But while you look that up,
Pacers 1 year, and
25 years. Oh, yeah, 2000. That was the last time. Wow. Right when the Knicks played the Spurs in the finals. Jeez, that is. Do you hear that?
Is that me?
I don't know. Let me see. Might be.
I'm
okay, I think
we got all types of speakers and stuff back here, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's weird. I feel like I got getting a lot of feedback from you. All right, let's see. All right, so let's do this, y'all. So that's weird. Okay.
Is it coming?
All right, but
let me reset it and I'll come back in.
All right, bet. Do that, and then we'll continue. Opinion stated was good, bro. Was good. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. We are talking some NBA basketball right here, man. I got one of my brothers from New York City, from Brooklyn, BKNY. He's on here with me. Well, he'll be right back, but he's on here for the express purpose of giving us that boots on ground feeling, telling us what's going on, telling us what he's feeling, what he thinks. We've already had some, I know, man, that Tatum thing was tough, bro, but we'll get to that. But yeah, we're definitely talking about what's going on with the Knicks and what's happening in Jalen Brunson and the incredible freaking series that he's having, and just what he's doing is amazing. But so yeah, we can digress a little bit while we wait for my man Kai to get back. But oh man, yeah, this this Knicks Celtics thing, this is crazy, and I guess there's layers to this. So we'll get kind of into some of those layers, but just watching what's happening, just before we even get into this thing, what we are seeing, is he the best point guard in the league? Is he better than Cade Cunningham? I mean, yeah, he beat him in the last round, but is he better? I'd say he's a better clutch player, yes, but is he better overall? I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not mad at anybody who says that Jalen Brunson is the best point guard in the league, but I don't know if I would put him over Cade Cunningham. Halliburton? I don't know. Yeah, I think it is you.
Let me change my spot.
I bet.
You got to told it.
But yeah, but Halliburton, nah, I don't agree with you on that, Chief Zip Bubba. Halliburton is good. I don't think he's the best point guard in the league, though. But yeah, so when we're dealing with this, Knicks piece, man, this series, obviously, I don't think anybody expected to be where it was right now. If we were looking at a 3-1 advantage, we probably would have been looking at a 3-1 advantage in favor of the champs, right? The Boston Celtics. But the Knicks, obviously, they stole the first 2 games in Boston, right? And if we're real, they stole the games. A lot of people, maybe Knicks fans, might say they took them, but I think that the Celtics gave it to them, right? And so if we're looking at this, like, here's the crazy stat. If the Celtics in the first 2 games had hit 2 more 3-pointers, 2 more, they would have gone into last night with a 3-0 lead. And when you're doing that, now you have a totally different mindset, a totally different situation. But the Celtics go into New York down 0-2, and they have to, I think he's frozen. They go into New York down 0-2, and they have to, have one of the great Celtics games and play the way they play as champions. And they get a blowout in what's this, game 3, right? They get the blowout in game 3. They were up by more than 30 points in that game. Then they come back for game 4, and the Knicks, man, did the Knicks play? Yes, they did. Opinion Status says Jalen Brunson, and we can't be prisoners of the moment here, but he says Jalen Brunson is better overall than Halliburton, Kyrie, Cade Cunningham, Darius Garland, Trey, Curry, Harden, etc. That is a really tough comment, man. I don't know. I think that you probably have some recency bias going on there, but he's a heck of a player. There's no question about it. And maybe with the value that we place on clutch time play and how big he is down the stretch in these games, that's helping to elevate how we look at him, right? All right. Opinion states that Knicks aren't afraid of, nor do they respect Boston. They show no fear. That's how they stay resilient, fought back in the first 2 games. Yeah, so we can look at it that way, opinion stated, and I'm not saying there's no truth to that, but I truly believe, and I could be biased here as a Celtics fan, but I'm trying to be objective. I truly believe that the Celtics gave those 2 games away. The Celtics would have won the first 2 games if they'd have just hit 2 more 3-pointers. They didn't have to be hot. They didn't have to play great. 2 more 3-pointers. So it's my opinion that they gave those games away. Now, did the Knicks have to hang around and show toughness and mental grit and all those things to win those games? Absolutely. Then they came out when the Celtics played how the Celtics play, and they got blown out in game 3. But they bounced right back in game 4. So a lot of credit due to the Knicks for that. And, but at the end of the day, we got what we got. All right, I've been talking. Khalees, man, let me hear your thoughts. First, man, what's the feelings in New York City and BKNY and in the rest of the boroughs right now in terms of where the Knicks are and how close they are to their first Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years?
Well, you got types of fans, right? Got your You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Awesome. You got your fans like me. I'm a little pessimistic.
Right.
But then you got the other fans. I think we're going to win the championship. So, that's really the feel. But then you also have the third layer, the Brooklyn Net fans that's now jumping back over here. And I was like, wasn't you in black and white just last year or 2 years ago? Now
Right.
orange and blue. So, that's how the city's feeling, though. And being that it's a New York team, you definitely do have all 5 boroughs in the surrounding areas, Yonkers, Long Island. So very happy, up in arms. Even at my job. And the dope thing about the Knicks is it encompasses all ethnicities and race. It's just a good vibe, a good feeling. So everybody right now is definitely, and they're letting us get away with a lot of stuff. I don't know if you saw the whole 7th Ave was on lockdown yesterday. So
crazy.
This is pandemonium. But I'm a little bit more in shock because I'm still what I saw in game 1 and 2. I know you guys did some live viewings. I'm sorry I missed that. I was in the bar. I really would like to sit down with you guys after that game. But I'm still in shock. I still can't believe we won game 1 and 2. This is the first game I feel like we won.
Right. Agreed.
And I think it was definitely the Knicks pulling that out. And also, I think the Celtics more than the Celtics losing it because the Knicks, that's the most points we scored against the Celtics. Normally, it's a low-scoring affair. But this was the first time we actually used our whole roster. I mean, we have a very expensive roster. We have some really good two-way players, OG, Bridges, and Cat. And Cat's not a two-way player, but we have those players there. So instead of us doing the Allen Iverson, what I call it, the four corners, I just sits back and watches Brunson, which we did against the Pistons and which we did the first couple of games against the Celtics. We actually posting up Cat on Peyton Pritchard. I'm like, yeah, why didn't we always do this?
Mouse in the house.
Bridges go up against White, which White is a good defender, but Bridges got him by a couple of inches. So let's see what we got there. Instead of us going JB against Drew Holiday, which we know is one of the better defenders in maybe NBA history. So it was good to coaching does matter. And sometimes Tib and Joe, I mean, they both get a lot of flack. So I know Tibbs is normally a defensive guy, and a lot of people think that's them play like pretty much street ball on offense. I was hearing Teague said that the other day. He kind of rolls the ball out and lets them. It's like the opposite of a Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni's the guy that runs sophisticated offenses and defense. He goes, just get a stop when you can, or don't play defense at all. Don't waste your energy.
Right.
Tibbs like almost like the complete opposite, where he's focusing all on defense. And offense suffers. But last night I was seeing some screens mid-range for Bridges. We seen some post-ups for Cat. OG was going off because he was getting the right spacing, which allowed Brunson to now go one-on-one as opposed to going 1-on-3 and 1-on-4. And he was able to go blow for blow with Tatum, who went off. Like, it was nothing we could do with Tatum last night. So I was scared to see that because I knew it was coming because he didn't really have a good series yet.
Right.
So I knew it was coming. I knew him and Brown was eventually going to break out. I think Brown was going to, being that they're definitely missing Tatum. But I think he was going to come out of the show sooner or later anyway. So now we're going to see why this guy got paid that money. I think Brown's going to step up. I think the Celtics get one more game, but I think the Knicks are going to close it out in 6.
So it's funny. I had chosen the Celtics to win this series in 6, and Transformer, I believe, was saying Knicks in 6 from the beginning. So it's funny.
I didn't see it.
yeah. Needless to say, I didn't see it either. Not just because I'm a Celtics fan, but because they're the champions, and I felt like when they're playing the way they're supposed to be playing, there's nothing you could do with them. I think a big part of it too, you're not getting any real contribution from Porzingis, because I think when he's going, that team is super, super tough to beat.
That team is super tough. Like even him just being maybe 1/4 himself. He's still affecting the boards. He's still changing shots last night, I saw. So he's still a beast. He's still giving you spacing because you got to respect him from 3-point line. So even him at like 25% of what's going on with him, by the way? I'm hearing all types of rumors. And then,
he had some illness earlier that is not injury, but illness that he's taking time to get back from. I don't know exactly what the deal was. I don't know.
I guess we'll hear about it after we close y'all out after Friday. So
was that necessary though? Was that necessary?
I haven't felt this good in a while, man. And like I
I
said,
don't
the best
think.
thing about yesterday's game also was we were taking it to the Celtics hopefully it's not an ACL, but major injury scare.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
like, I felt good because, a lot of times you be like, I don't want to win that way. But
Mm-hmm.
before that, I saw the Knicks really was putting the pressure on them and
Mm-hmm.
and feel like they was about to put the nail in the coffin. We don't know what would have happened but I feel like we had that win in the bag.
Mm-hmm. So I'll say this. This is funny. If I'm the Celtics, right? Everywhere that my players go inside the building, because Game 5 is in Boston, so they're gonna have practice and stuff, treatment, all that. Everywhere they go in the building, you know what they're gonna see? They're gonna see that Rudy Tomjanovich clip from '95. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. They gonna see it everywhere on a loop. They gonna go to sleep. They gonna hear it in their brain. They're gonna wake up. They're gonna hear it. Like, these guys need to know, like, yo, y'all are the champs. Y'all are the champs for a reason. And really, if I'm Missoula too, I get with Jaylen Brown. I say, listen, man, it's obviously it's no disrespect to your partner, but he can't go. He gave us everything. Now it's time for you to be that MVP that you were both in the Eastern Conference Finals last year and in the NBA Finals. You show them why you're a $300 million guy. You show them why you have earned what you have earned, right? You show them why they were wrong for leaving you off the Olympic team. I get at this point, right? We know what type of players the Celtics are. We know how they can play when they are in the groove. But now is the point where you got to pull the psychological levers if you're a head coach, right? If you're Missoula. Like, this is where Phil Jackson, who I don't believe at all was the best X's and O's coach, would have found a way because he knew how to pull the psychological levers. And I think sometimes, as we know, when it comes to athletics, that's just as important as being able to draw up the right play. Now,
Sam out for the whole series?
say again?
Is Sam out for the whole series? The backup forward is Sam Hauser.
Oh, Sam Hauser. I haven't really seen him play. I think he played a little bit earlier. Excuse me. I don't know why he didn't get burned. I was about to talk about that. I don't know why he didn't get burned.
That's somebody that they may have to tap into. They had the first round draft pick also from Creighton. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh yeah.
So right. That's another guy they wasted a first round on him. I don't think he's ready, but these are guys that also going to have to get plugged into the Mitch. Peyton Pritchard, we don't have an answer for him, so I know he could easily head us up for 25 to 30.
Right.
So it's not completely over. And as a Knicks fan, I saw some crazy stuff in my life. So I saw a man score points in 8 seconds.
Right. So let me ask you this, Ka. Would you rather close it out in Boston, or you rather close it out in MSG if you can on
the reason I want to close it out in Boston is because injury. We have some injury prone players in OG and Cat.
Okay.
And what happened to us last year with I feel like we could have closed out the Pacers and we did it. And we had injury, so get it over with as soon as possible. We travel. I don't know if you noticed, but there's been a lot of Knicks fans in our Boston Garden. They look at that hotel price and those ticket prices, and they say, "Hey, that's 1/4 of what we pay in the Garden."
Right.
So we're traveling, so
no doubt.
Be a few fans to cheer us on. Hopefully, they don't get fights with the locals. But
yeah, did you see that after the last game in Boston? They was out there getting into the fisticuffs outside TD Bank North Garden. Yeah.
These sports fans are passionate. I mean, I know we don't got nothing on the football fans overseas, but
right.
Boston, Philly, New York.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago, we got some tough. I don't know, man. I love sports. I like to talk, but once you get into being disrespectful, I don't even know why people get involved in all that. We need to cut that out for real.
Yeah, for real. Like, seriously? Yeah.
And Boston PD gets paid a lot of money. They're some of the top paid cops in the country, so hopefully they're out.
Are they?
Yes. Hopefully they're out full effect. Because they're going to need it if we close them out, which, like I said, I think Boston gets this one, and I think we win it at the Garden, but I'm hoping that we can close it out now because we need a rest. Because probably the Cavs probably get another one, I'm figuring.
Man.
He's been rolling, but I think the Cavs will probably squeeze out one more. Hopefully.
You think so?
Yeah, why not? I mean, they've been – I know everybody's calling them the Atlanta Hawks of I can't remember.
That's a good analogy, yeah.
Everybody's calling them that Hawk team.
Yeah.
But I think they can squeeze out one more because, they don't really play defense in Indy, so all it takes is the Cavs to get hot one game and they can close them out.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's open the phone lines up, man. Let's take a couple calls on this because I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's take a couple phone calls.
The Celtics, what, they 4-0'd us this past season?
During the regular season, yep.
And then some of the games weren't even close.
Nope.
Close. The first 2 games wasn't even close. I'm still in shock. Like, I'm really in shock, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, definitely disappointing if you're a Celtics fan. Definitely disappointing if you are a Celtic. You did not expect this at all. And then, you have the psychological piece of your big gun, your number one gun, going down, presumably for the remainder of the postseason and possibly, going forward. So it's definitely going to be a tough spot. So yeah,
a lot of people are saying like they're literally maybe playing their last games together because I don't know if the new owners are cheap. This is what I don't get.
I heard that.
Why are you selling to cheap owners? Like, this is so whack. I know the Amazon guy wants to own a team. I don't know what's the dude's name.
Bezos.
Yeah, but another rich guy. Why are we not selling at the highest bidder?
Well, I mean, maybe that was the highest bidder. What'd they get? Like $6.2 billion for that Celtics? That's so far that's the highest value, the highest that a team has ever sold for in the United States. So,
because we also have the Dallas Mavericks owner who seemed like he didn't want to pay Luka, and now we're hearing rumors about the Celtics and how then they might break him up. Because those comments don't come from nowhere.
Nah. Somebody said it.
Yeah, somebody said it from ownership. They know, like, yo, when are y'all getting moved?
But it's crazy though, right? Because you got, what is that? Just between 2 guys alone, you got 305 and 315. So what is that? $620 million payroll between 2 players. And then you got the rest of these guys. So it's like, all right, cool. These guys are getting paid. But my thing is, if you field an outstanding team and you make deep playoff runs, do you know how much money that is?
Right.
For every home playoff game, you know what I'm saying? Merch and concessions and parking. It's a lot of money these owners are making. So I never got why they act cheap when it comes to paying these players, because when you field a good competitive team, you're going to make a lot more dough down the line.
And you just never know what's happening. Some people get cocky and be like, oh, we might not do it this year. So and the next thing you know, it might be 10, 20 years till you become a fielded team that's good. So, they're not even, some of them not even in their prime yet. So, I mean, I don't, in my head, before the pre-injury, I was like, we're going to have to see the Celtics here. Maybe they might be able to three-peat.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. And Chief, man, I'm not trying to hear you on that, man.
Or it's like, why buy the team? Why buy one of the best franchises in sports, not just the NBA?
Right.
I'm going to go all the way, man.
I don't know.
Do they also own the Bruins? Or separate?
No, I don't think it's the same ownership group. Nah. I don't think it's the same ownership group. All right. So let's go. By the way, if y'all hear the dog barking, man, pardon me on that. I don't know why Caesar act up every time I want to do a show, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's get on to, I guess, the second part of this Celtics and Knicks series. Arguably one of the worst parts of it. Again, not because I'm a fan, but because you hate to see great competition in athletics decided or having injury play a major role, right? So we saw Jason Tatum go down last night with what appeared to be an Achilles injury. And we know that's one of the toughest injuries to return from in sports. Normally takes about 2 years to really get back to kind of that peak level that you were at before. I will say, glad for the young man that he was able to get his Supermax deal before this past season started. So at least, he didn't miss out on that as a result of injury. So cool there. But yeah, we saw Tatum go down, and he was in agony, like spinning around on the floor. He had to get carried off, couldn't put weight on it. And side note, it's so interesting how injuries affect different people in different ways, how it happens, what happens, how much pain people are able to handle. Like, for instance, we always talk about how Kobe was able to When his Achilles popped, he was able to go to the line, walk up there, shoot the free throws. I think Kyrie did the same thing. And if you want to check it out, I'm not going to get into it now, but just look it up. Former Lakers trainer Gary Vitti told a crazy story about Kobe when he popped his Achilles and everything that he was trying to do to be able to finish playing in that game. And the trainer was like, no. So, yeah, go check that story out. Yeah, so let's go ahead. And I actually got some footage here from a doctor. I think he's an orthopedist, and he's going to talk about I'm sorry, I forgot to upload it. So I'll get that for you in a second. But yeah, we saw Tatum go down, and this is, I think, to me, the worst part of it is especially that when you look at the fact that Tatum was, putting in work prior to that injury. I think he had 42 and 10 at the time. And like Kyle was saying, that was kind of that breakout game that we had been waiting for from Jason Tatum to happen during this series. He hadn't shot particularly well, but this time, again, he had 42 points into the fourth quarter and was playing really well, making big shots, kind of dueling Jalen Brunson down the stretch. So just really playing well overall and playing great actually overall. And we've seen Tatum have these type of games in the playoffs before. I think we saw him have 50 or 53 to eliminate Philly a couple of years ago. We saw him, I think the first year that the Celtics went to the finals, have a 46-point winner go home in Milwaukee against Giannis. So we know that Tatum has these type of games in him. I think for me, one of the difficulties I have with Tatum while we wait for the video to load is that a lot of times because he can shoot it and because he's got that game, he bails the defense out a lot by not being aggressive and attacking the rim. And that's frustrating to me because he's a guy he's strong, he's physical, he's got all the tools, but why he, so often chooses to just shoot a step back three or a fadeaway jump shot, it kills me. I think it's lazy, and I don't like it at all. But we got what we got, and everybody's got their game. So, Ka, tell me, what were your thoughts when you saw Tatum go down? Then we'll watch the medical breakdown on that.
It was tough to see because you already knew, those non-contact injuries normally doesn't fare very well. Actually, one of my good friends, funny story, he's playing pickup, and I kept on telling this dude to crash the boards, because we older shots as much. So he ran, went to jump to crash the boards. He finally listened to me, and he couldn't. He said, "Yo, who kicked me in the back of my leg?" And he couldn't get up. And that's the first thing I thought about when I saw this injury. Although Tatum was in fluid motion, you kind of saw like it was nothing that really caused him to be in that much agony and pain. So I was like, damn, what was up? And Tatum's a good dude. He does a lot for the community. He's not one of those mouthy players. He takes quality care of his body. He's a good spokesman in the game. So the first thing I thought about is, damn, I hope we're not losing one of our better spokesmen and one of the better players in the NBA.
Yeah.
I thought about the excuses if the Knicks win it. Did they deserve to win? Tatum's going off. He figured out a way. He solved the Knicks' problem. He's going to go off for the next couple of games, and the Celtics are going to win. That's why the Knicks won this series. Those are my second thoughts. It's like, damn. All the Celtic fans and the rest of the NBA fans are going to say, oh, the Knicks won because Tatum wasn't there. So that's what that's my second thought when it happened. And then my third thought was he's going to miss all the next season.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Yeah. It's not even like he can just kind of recover from this, come back next season and go for it. He's going to have to deal with the injuries the rehab from the injury that follows, which to your point will keep him out most of next season. And then even when he gets back, probably not going to be anywhere near the same. So he'll need that time plus the following summer to get back the following year to hopefully being the Tatum that, we've seen when he can be at his best. So yeah, that's tough, man.
Definitely, and then they invest so much money in them, and then with this new first apron crap, all for the Celtics to make any moves. So,
well, let me say this: as you brought up the aprons and all that, right? We know who we can blame for that, LeBron. So if he installed all this super team crap, then the owners wouldn't have had to go hard and put all this stuff in place and make the luxury tax way more punitive. So,
I don't think that was the reason. I thought it was more.
That was the reason.
I thought it was because it doesn't really make sense. Because to me, this thing hurts teams like, let's say, the Warriors or the Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder, who draft well and now can't keep their players, which to me is like ridiculous. So because I'm getting punished because I know how to draft and I know how to build a team with chemistry, and now I can't keep all my players.
Well,
Like,
so are you getting punished though? Think about it. We hear it all the time, this business of, oh, the owners can't do it. Owners can't do it. Like, especially in football, we hear it because their salary cap, they got a hard cap, and it's so tough to allegedly, make it work, right? So there's a guy, Andrew Brent. He used to be GM of the Packers, and he does some media interviews and stuff now, and I think he writes a Substack. So anyway, he was on The Odd Couple with Rob Parker and Chris Broussard a number of times, and now he's a former Packers GM, and he's on the record saying, yo, when people say they can't pay because of the salary cap, it's BS. It's how you manage the salary cap and whether the owners want to pay more money up front, right? Because remember, when you put money in bonuses, it doesn't count against your cap. But when you put the money in bonuses, you have to put the money in escrow to make sure that the money is there to pay out the bonus. So at the end of the day, is that the owners just don't want to pay that money out. So they would rather say, oh, I'm sorry, we can't do it. We can't do it, because they don't want to do what it takes to make the cap work. But if you have
for the NFL versus the NBA,
say again,
isn't that more for the NFL than the NBA?
Yeah. I was referencing the NFL, yes. But what I'm saying is, these owners, they can make it work if they want to, man. Think about all these smart business people from all these business schools they got working in their front offices and whatnot, and you tell me they can't figure out a way to make the cap work? Come on, man. The owners, they just don't want to do it.
And also, normally what happens in contract situations is the fan base on the ownership side as well, because it's naturally people are like haters, so they're like, their players are being greedy, and the owners leak a couple of things to the media, and now the fans are like, oh, you're just being greedy. So that's also one of the really going to get the love from the fans. So.
But that's a whole different topic we can do another day. But getting back to Tatum in terms of the injury and the medical breakdown, let's go ahead and I'm going to show this video here with this guy. He's a doctor. I think he's an orthopedist, and he's on Twitter a lot, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he does that to kind of talk sports injuries and how it will affect people, etc. So I got a clip from him specifically referencing what happened to Jason Tatum last night. So let's take a look.
We don't see a view to where we can actually really look specifically and see that recoil of the gastrocnemius muscle that we often will see with an Achilles rupture. But the mechanism of how he pushes off, this is going to be an Achilles tendon injury until proven otherwise. Here, as Tatum is going after this loose ball, keep an eye on his right leg, because it's the right leg that we're going to be worried about. And in this position, we see beforehand, he steps backwards. So right there, he steps that.
I'm sorry, guys. Were you able to hear that? Were you hearing anything when the video was playing? Were you able to hear that? The video? Whoa! Can you hear me, please?
Okay.
Okay. Were you able to hear the video when it was playing?
I responded in the chat.
All right. Cool. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and start that over. My bad, y'all.
We don't see a view to where we can actually really look specifically and see that recoil of the gastrocnemius muscle that we often will see with an Achilles rupture. But the mechanism of how he pushes off, this is going to be an Achilles tendon injury until proven otherwise. Here, as Tatum is going after this loose ball, keep an eye on his right leg, because it's the right leg that we're going to be worried about. And in this position, we see beforehand, he steps backwards. So right there, he steps that right leg backwards behind him, and that is going to put his ankle into dorsiflexion, meaning his toes are pointed upwards towards the tibia, and similar to what we saw with Damian Lillard, that puts an eccentric load on the Achilles. That puts this stretch, the tendon, the Achilles gastroc complex is lengthening because of that dorsiflexion pulling the foot up, moves the calcaneus down, stretches the Achilles tendon, and then as he goes to push, you get this sudden contraction with an eccentrically loaded tendon, and that is going to put it at risk of failure. And in this case, I'd be concerned about the Achilles. Same thing that we're seeing in this view from above. We pay attention to that right leg. Tatum steps backwards here, right there. He's going into that dorsiflexion that puts his stress on the Achilles tendon, and then as he goes to explode and push off, we see him go down and then immediately start grabbing at that portion of his ankle right near the Achilles. As he's down then, of course, right away we saw him grabbing at that area. Again, if this were something more mild, like a calf strain, like a muscle injury, we would expect him to see the grab up here more at the gastrocnemius, but the fact that he's grabbing at that Achilles, we saw that eccentric load with that dorsiflexed ankle position. I am absolutely concerned about an unfortunate Achilles tendon rupture. Let's talk briefly with our biodigital anatomy tool here just to again understand what makes up the Achilles. We're going to have the muscle contribution from the medial and lateral heads of the gastrocnemius. That's what makes up the primary bulk of your calf muscle. Deep to that, you're going to have the soleus muscle, and then you're also going to have a really thin muscle called the plantaris. Those all come together, form the Achilles tendon, and then the Achilles tendon is, of course, going to go down and insert on the back of the calcaneus, the heel bone. That dorsiflexed position, the ankle is pointed up in this direction, so that's going to put tension on the Achilles, put tension on the calf, and then as he forcibly pushes off, you get additional load going through Achilles. And most of the time, whenever you have one of these injuries, it's going to be right down here in this mid portion of the Achilles tendon. That tends to be the weaker spot. There's not as ideal of blood flow. We call this like a watershed area. And so most likely mid portion Achilles tendon rupture is going to be the area of concern. Now remember, with these types of injuries, there's something called the Thompson test, where back in the locker room, they're going to put him down prone on his stomach. They're going to have him bend his knee up to 90 degrees. They're going to squeeze his calf muscle. And if you don't see any movement in the ankle, that's a positive Thompson test. That's very highly suggestive of an Achilles tendon rupture. They very well could have ultrasound there in the locker room to also put an ultrasound probe down and look at this. So I'm recording this now. The game is nearly completed. I can almost guarantee the medical staff knows if he's had an Achilles rupture, so we'll probably be hearing something probably in the minutes to come. If we don't hear anything immediately tonight, that's a good sign. But again, concern, of course, is for an Achilles.
All right, so really good breakdown there from really good breakdown there from Dr. S on this. And yeah, he had some good stuff to say. I like how he showed us the diagram and everything. He showed us, exactly where the movement took place that would lead him to believe that the issue is with the Achilles. So I guess at this point, we're holding on and we're hoping that it wasn't an Achilles. And it's not even so much about the Celtics or, trying to extend this. It's none of that. It's about you don't want to see a player of Tatum's caliber go out like that, right? You hope, even if he's out for the rest of the playoff season or the series, whatever, fine. But you don't want to see him have to, get the surgery, miss most of next year, try to work his way back and not be back until the following year at his peak level. So you want him to be the best that he can be. You don't want that situation. What's going on, Kareem Duncombe? What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Yeah, so you don't want that for Tatum. And again, it's not about being a Celtics fan or anything like that. You just don't want to see a player of that caliber, any player, go out that way. So yeah. But Khalid, I definitely feel you on the whole some Celtics fan making excuses about, oh, he lost because I'm not doing that. Celtics lost because they didn't play well enough. I mean, that's really what it is. And this wasn't even one of those where you had a big lead and then I think they were up by 14 at one point, but it's not one of those where you were up by 20 or 30 and then, you collapsed and let the Knicks back in. No. The Knicks, like, really, for the first time this series, in my humble opinion, outplayed the Celtics last night. And that's all that was,
I was more so thinking about the entire series because we still got possibly, 3 more game spot maximum?
Yeah. It would be 3 more. So they're up 3-1. So it would have to be 3 more. Yeah.
So I was thinking that in terms of, and it is a valid excuse if we do win the series. You don't think the Celtics could have possibly win 3 more games if Tatum was there?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is I don't see it as being a valid excuse because I'm like, injuries are a part of the game and the Celtics still have to go next man up. And they have built one of the best and most complete rosters in the NBA. So, no, it's not going to be a valid excuse. And, if the Celtics lose, I'm going to hit you like, damn, hey, go get it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now go get it for New York and go get it for the Eastern Conference, right? I'm not that guy. If they lose, they have no one to blame but themselves for giving away the first 2 games at home, right? That's how I see it.
Did you discuss how Kobe was able to shoot 2 free throws after he tore his Achilles?
I did. I talked about that. And the crazy part is I had mentioned going to look up, if you're watching this, go look up former Laker trainer Gary Vitti and what he said about Kobe when his Achilles popped. So I'll go ahead and tell the story. I wasn't going to, but I'll tell the story real quick. So he says Kobe told him that when the Achilles popped, he said he reached down and tried to pull the Achilles back up. Oh, yeah. And Gary Vitti's like, it doesn't work that way. So he's like, well, can you take me in the back and take me up and I'll be able to play the rest of the game? He's like, Kobe, it doesn't work that way. And Kobe is trying desperately every possible thing to be able to finish the game out because, he was that type of dude. He's like, look, I'll let you shoot the free throws and then that's it. So that's why we saw Kobe walk to the line, shoot the 2 free throws and then, walk off. And now we've seen Kyrie Irving do that as well. But I think how injuries happen to different players obviously affects the pain level, and different people have different pain tolerance. Like we saw, Kobe injured, and then he played the entire game shooting with his left hand. It's freaking crazy. Built different. And I'm gonna ignore Bruce because I know what he's trying to do.
Cutting off pinkies and all of that.
Yeah, Roddy Lott's a wild dude. But that football mentality is a totally different thing as well. You know what I'm saying? So, what's going on, Woodage? No, Tatum didn't hurt himself on a 3. He was going for the ball, and it was just a non-contact injury. He just popped up. He appears to have popped his Achilles. Yeah, man, people have different pain thresholds. We saw when, towards the end, the later part of Larry Bird's career, he had to play, he was trying to play with bone spurs in his heels. He played and his back was so messed up. He used to be in traction before and after games. Kevin McHale played an entire playoff run with a broken foot to the point that he was never the same again after that. Like, so different people have different pain tolerance, and also injuries happen differently, and, there's different severities. So,
and some people have don't have the education too, because I'm pretty sure a lot of those dudes knew what they were facing. They might have had a different choice.
What they were facing in terms of what?
Like if Kevin McHale knew like this may destroy the rest of your career,
mm-hmm.
you be able to play at that level, maybe he would have chosen, sports science and the technology a little different back then, and it gets better for each year. But some people wouldn't have cared anyway, but you just never know.
That's what I was about to say. I think we know that the athlete mindset was different back then, right? And also the money was nowhere near what it is now, right? So now you could be like, man, F that, I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna recover, hundreds of mils or whatever. Back then it wasn't like that. So
right, you used to hide injuries. And also I love Walt Clyde Frazier's story. He said we didn't have the trainers and the sports science we have now. So he said we were really hurt when another guy next to you was like, I have that same injury. And, like that's how you would go by it, by going by the next person's, how he couldn't walk, how he would limp, or he would grab something. And then you for that, like, wait a minute, you had that injury last year and you could barely run now. Maybe I should chill out. So that was old timers' way of figuring out injuries is crazy.
Mm-hmm. That is crazy, man. But yeah, so it looks very bad for Tatum. I just looked it up to see if there's any update. So let's see. It looks like. What's up, Nino? What's going on? No, it appears there won't be a repeat this year, but we'll see. Hey, never underestimate the heart of a champion.
You never know. Like you said, they still have a very good roster, and the Knicks are very suspect, regardless of what we're seeing right now. So it's possible.
Yeah, they can be. I'm trying to see if I can find an update. Okay, wow. Why is it taking so long? Wait, what's today? Today's Tuesday, right?
Today is
today's Tuesday. Okay. So he's supposed to have an MRI today. So we don't I don't know if he's gonna get it back in Boston or if he's gonna get it right there in New York. But yeah, he's supposed to have an MRI today. So we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out soon, man.
It's just so crazy. We're talking about 3-peat, and I was talking about next season will they make the playoffs. I still think they the way we do with the planes and stuff, I still think the Celtics got a shot next year, even without Tatum. You don't know. This is way too early to talk about this, but
Of
maybe
course.
6 seed, 7 seed, 8 seed. I can still see them doing that because they have a very good.
Mhm.
But we're gonna see.
Yeah, we're definitely going to
This is
see.
why we love to watch sports. So you just never know in any given.
Never know.
Never know what's gonna happen. So I did
Facts.
not see this coming at all. I was just like,
hmm
see.
Woodage, the Celtics haven't repeated since the Russell days. That is true. But yet somehow they still have more championships than anybody. Just something to think about. Anyway, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines. We'll take a couple of calls real quick. And then we'll get to the last topic and just discuss that a little bit. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Let's take a couple calls here. What we got? KD bounced back better than anyone I recall from the Achilles. Hope JT has similar results. That's a good point. That's a good point. I think the benefit is Tatum is like really young. What is he, 27? He's not, he's like 26 or 27. So he's, I don't even think he's that. He might not have even reached his athletic prime yet. So, you know, when you're that young, you can bounce back from injuries really well. You know, you providing you're on top of your rehab. So if he's got excuse me, if he's got that, he'd be in good shape. I think he's like 27. Let's see, roster.
I wonder what percentage of players get these injuries now.
That's a good question. Oh, so let me ask you this. I was talking to my other homeboy about this earlier. Tatum is 27, so he's still young. He's just entering his physical peak. Yeah, so I was talking to my other homeboy about this earlier. This is an interesting thought, right? And let's say it's an Achilles, right? And I wonder if anyone has done a study correlating the so many players wearing low top sneakers now and getting Achilles and ankle injuries. I'm kind of curious because, you know, when we were coming up, everything was high tops when you balling. And I can't imagine like
how you shoot tight as possible.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering, like, when did it become cool? Like, obviously, I don't hoop anymore, but I'm wondering when did it become a thing, like, to wear low tops, and how is that better for you in terms of like protecting you, especially now when they're lying to us and telling us about how the players today have such better handles and better lateral movement and all this. So that technically would put the players' lower extremities at more of a disadvantage. And so when you're in that situation, it's like, okay, cool. Why would you not wear high top sneakers? I really don't get it. Some thoughts on that in the chat, or if you want to call in. I don't get it. You got all this technology. Why can't we get higher? Why are we not wearing high tops more? And why are we not, really looking into that? But I am curious to know if any study has been done to find out if there's a correlation between low top sneakers and Achilles injuries and ankle injuries.
I remember we used to tape up our ankles, even going even beyond the high tops.
Mm-hmm. Right, because you're trying to, absolutely. You can tape it up because you're trying to provide all the support possible. So you tape it up, then you put it in the high tops, so I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't go lower than mids. Like, remember we used to see Rasheed Wallace in the
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. In the high top Air Force Ones. So I'm like, I don't know.
I think Kobe definitely helped push this low top stuff because he was
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't really get it. All right, no calls on this. Okay. So we will go to the final topic. I appreciate you all being here. By the way, if you haven't, hit that like and subscribe, man. Y'all know what it is.